I'm your host, Jefferson Nunn. Today we're joined by very special guest, Lois Koffi. I hope I said your name right. She has this incredible program, which a lot of it is free, by the way, which I'm blown away by that. Like, you want free knowledge, here you go. I mean, it's just been incredible. So Lois, hello.
Thank you so much for having me. And don't worry, as a guest and as a host, I've had my name said wrong and I've said butchered names wrong so many times. It is Lois Koffi, but you're
Kofi. Okay.
but it's funny because I'm as I'm sitting here drinking a cup of coffee, when everyone says Lois Coffee, I chuckle because it's one of my streams of income because I used to be in the coffee business, so it's perfect.
Oh, well, yeah, I was going to say that's great for sales, right? So
Any angle, people thought I even changed my last name. But anyway, I'm so grateful to be here today. Thank you so much for having me.
great. I'm glad to have you. Well, tell me a little bit more about what you do, how you do it, where you're at. You're just a great person. Tell me more.
You're so kind. Thank you. Well, I met you as a result of the pandemic. Like many, I was stuck at home March of 2020, and it didn't look exactly the way I thought it was going to. And to take a few steps back, in my 20s, I landed a job right out of college in journalism and media, and I discovered, oh my gosh, as much as I loved speaking and writing, I was kind of depressed by the industry. It was very toxic, very unhealthy. I was in the sports department. It was very sexist. They were like, you're going to have to sleep your way to the top if you want to work for ESPN, which was my dream. So here I was at 21, tender years of age, fresh out of college. And my coworkers, who were twice my age, said, Lois, get out while you can. And so I did. I was like, all right, I don't want to end up like you. So I'm going to go exit stage left. And I landed a role at a real estate office. And before you knew it, I got my license, and the rest, as they say, is history. I made six figures right out of the gate, working part time and not working nights or weekends. Right away, I knew I wanted to have balance. I was also a marathoner and all of these things, and I wanted to volunteer. I wanted to enjoy life. And Jim Rohn, if you know Jim, he always said, are you here, Lois, to make a living? Or are you here to design a life? So I went about my ways, building a real estate sales team, eventually a mortgage company, eventually a real estate investment company. And guess what? That all came to a screeching halt in 2006 when I was in Phoenix, Arizona. You can probably picture what was about to happen then was the recession. And so if you saw the movie The Big Short, that was kind of where I ended up. I was homeless, penniless. My bank accounts were cleaned out. My business partners all skipped town or managed to disappear. And of course, I was the good farm girl from Iowa who had the really good credit, who personally guaranteed every flippin' thing in her name, which was brilliant. Not really. And I was like bait for all of these creditors. I'd get 20 to 30 calls a day until, of course, my phone got turned off, which was awesome because Verizon wanted me to pay my bill and I couldn't. And then to top it all off, the day before my 30th birthday, which, by the way, it was my goal to be a millionaire, my car got repossessed the day before that birthday. And so here I was at that time living homeless, but on the kindness of friends, sleeping on floors, futons, spare bedrooms, right by the ocean. It gave me a clean slate, to be honest, to start all over. And at that time, there was a mentor who said, Lois, it's not a big deal. You can start over. You're a great sales trainer. You're a great speaker. You self-published a book. Go out and share your story and your message. And I was so excited by that voice. And he said, an email list, the money's in the email list, because this was 2007 by now. And I was kind of like, email list? What? I'm a face-to-face belly-to-belly girl. And I had clients who at that time hired me for sales training, and they were sending out one email and they'd make 10 grand, Jefferson. I was like going, is this real? Is this a scam? But at the same time, you have people in your corner. I also had negative people, some of them even family, who said, you're a failure. You can't pay your bills. Who's going to listen to you? You don't even have a car. And I was so devastated by those words. I unfortunately allowed those words to own me, and I completely was powerless. I even manifested an autoimmune disease in my throat. Why am I telling you all this? Well, for the next 13 years, up until 2020, I was kind of living a lie. I was wearing this mask, this fake it till you make it, I've got it all figured out. Became a workaholic. Um, really wasn't happy inside. I was dying inside. And I was a mom, a wife, all of these things were happening. And so around 2019, I started to be like, you know what? I'm sick of allowing other people, and those words from many, many moons ago, to have power over me. So I reconnected with that mentor who back in 2007, Lois, build a list,
Hmm.
build a list. And oh, by the way, I'm not lying on this. I really believe it's true. If I would have listened to him, I'd be living in New Zealand right now. I'd have many, many, many millions. So I say that to you to not, don't heed my words, heed them. Don't minimize them because there's a lot of lessons that I learned from that 13-year journey. And when I reached out to him, I said, it's time for Lois to lead with Lois, build my list. I was tired of selling other people's stuff. And sure enough, right when I was ready to go, my brother died. Then the pandemic hit. I was homeschooled, shelter in place with kids that I'd never been ever homeschooling them before. Then my mom got sick, went into hospice, and she died. And I was a bit of a wreck. And I could have thrown in the towel and said, I probably shouldn't go after my goals and dreams because I was pretty traumatized by all of that. But something inside of me said, remember what happened in 2007? And all the people that didn't get to hear your story then, it's time. So, with a lot of fear and trembling, I hired another coach. I launched a podcast. I built a list from 0 to 5,000 people. I went from $0 in online sales because I did not have an email list, a podcast. I didn't have any online presence. My YouTube channel was all sorts of cobwebs, and my LinkedIn profile really not cool. And I was able to go to 5 figures in 6 months, 5 figures a month income, then multiple 5 figures a month in February of this year, all by speaking my truth, being seen, being heard, being able to reach out and connect with people who are hurting at a deeper level. I took the mask off and went for it. And I learned a lot of things along the way, made a lot of mistakes, failed forward. And if it wasn't for my coaches and mentors and for learning from my past experiences, I don't think I'd even be here right now. I don't know where I'd be right now. So,
What an
yeah.
incredible message. I mean, that's just really just amazing. I got to say thank you, Lois, for sharing all of that. I know it must have been extremely hard. I didn't realize, the depth of that, what you've been through. So that's pretty amazing. I mean, I kind of went through some similar things, in 2008. I had $1 million of AR and nobody paying. And it's kind of hard to run a business when there's no money coming in. I had employees just run off with all my equipment. Um, so that was 2008. The world just came to a sudden stop. For me as well. So yes, it can be really hard to start over again, and to try to keep moving forward, as they say. So yeah, I'm glad and that's the thing, you're one of the survivors, if you will, thrivers, as I like to call them. And actually today, there's a lot of entrepreneurs. They're coming out with some amazing ideas and products. And, same thing, they have their fears, they have their aspirations. They're trying to get a message out there. You said one thing that I really want to hear more about, because I have not heard this from others, about building that email list. I mean, email, you would think it's everybody's saying, no, you got to do Facebook advertising, you got to do Google advertising. If you're not spending, 6 figures a month on Google, you're never going to make it. Tell me more about, that method.
Yeah, thank you. And it's really interesting because I was super negative about it. Like if you would have asked me 18 months ago, should I build an email list? I would have been really like, no, why? It was that turning point in April of 2020 when I had deja vu going back to 2007. I'm like, I have to. The money is still in the list because when you think about it, here's some reasons why, and then I'll tell you how I did it. Number one, Facebook is not your CRM. LinkedIn is not your CRM. Clubhouse doesn't care about you. They really don't. I mean, this sounds harsh, but it's true. Any one of those tribes, and there's at Pinterest, all of them, they can all go away just like that. When I was in real estate, the reason I made multiple six figures a year by the time I was 25 is because I had a CRM, a client relationship manager. I didn't really email back then, but I had phone numbers. I had a gold mine, is what Jim Rohn and Zig Ziglar, they all trained on this. Tommy Hopkins, all the real estate greats and sales trainers of all time said the money is in the database. So now in this world where you can't meet people face to face, Facebook could shut you down just for looking sideways and saying the one wrong word, right? LinkedIn, I've had clients shut down from LinkedIn with no notice. And so I recognized I had to build an email list that I could nurture, that I could drip on and sow seeds as often or as little as I wanted. And I have a summit coming up here in October called Manifest and Monetize. And everybody on that summit, they would not have gone on if they didn't have a big email list. There's one woman on there who has an email list of 100,000 people, and she can now send an email and make hundreds of dollars, sometimes even thousands of dollars. It took her 8 years to do that. So I was like mind blown by all these amazing people, and the fact that I can't make as many phone calls, Jefferson, as I used to. I used to do 20 calls a day. Homeschooling will not let me. And
Forget about it.
most people don't even pick up their phones anymore, right?
Correct.
So for me, what I did was I went from no email list to 2,000 in 12 weeks. And how I did it was I invited people to a webinar a week and invited them to a Facebook Live, which eventually became my podcast every single week. So it gave me value driven reasons for people to say, oh, yeah, I'd like to opt in, Lois. I'd like to learn more about that, which at that time it was a sales training webinar called 5 Secrets to Selling Success. It was my first lead magnet. And so people said yes. And there were a lot of people that were very interested in the follow up and what I had to say. So quick ending to this story. I had 2,000 people on my list. I was able to do a webinar after that, so month 4. And that one webinar helped pull in over 50 people who said, hey, I'm interested in your topic, a selling masterclass. And 8 of them bought. And that was an $8,000 day, an $8,000 day.
There's your funnel.
And so then you just stay in touch, you stay in front of them, you stay top of mind. People can unsubscribe. It's not a big deal to me anymore. I don't take it personal. I'm like, thank you. Thank you for letting me know that you're not an ideal customer. Thank you for letting me know that the value wasn't there for you. And that's okay, because your vibe will attract your tribe. The people who stay are the ones that are going to give you referrals,
Right.
or they're going to buy, or it's just one way for them to be reminded of you and you shining your light out there in a world where people could use some inspiration.
I'll share with you one of the secrets that made Rob McGraw Revelation, one of the sites that I was personally involved with, along with a marketer. But he and I both worked very hard. Not on Google, although we did Google, we did Facebook, we did remarketing, we did retargeting, we did all of that. All right. We did the coupon birds and all of them, affiliate stuff. All right. But the number one sales driver for Robin McGraw Revelation, Rob McGraw being Dr. Phil's wife, by the way, Revelations being her cosmetic beauty line. The reason why we made $1 million a month for 3 months in a row before pandemic, whoops. But the reason why we made them, we grew it from 10,000 a month to $1 million a month was email marketing. That was the reason. From 10,000 a month and nothing. And we started with a database of 10,000 people. That was it. We eventually grew it to a database of 250,000 people. And I am not kidding. Every time we sent an email every day. During Christmas, we sent 3 emails a day.
Yeah.
We got this complaint actually from Robin that said, hey, some people are complaining that we're emailing too often. This is at a time we were emailing once every 3 days. You know what we did? We increased it to every day.
I love that. I totally understand. I had some issues. I had some blocks around emailing more than once a week, but that's where I started because your mind, once it
Once a week
expands,
is great to start.
yeah,
Perfect. That's
that's
perfect for starting.
yeah.
But then you ramp up because the people that you mentioned it, the people that stay on the list, they want your emails.
Mhm.
All right. And then if you build, and again, that's the nice thing about some of the more modern platforms, you can segment your list. So the new people that are coming in, yes, you can set them to once a week and you grow them up, right? That way, if they drop off, okay, you only email them once a week. Your spam score doesn't get too high. But the people that stay on every day, those are the ones you want to keep emailing them every day. You want to stay, you mentioned top of mind. You want to stay top of mind. And yeah, that's what we did. I mean, I am not kidding, 1 million a month. We were up to before, whoops, you couldn't film a TV show. That was the end of that.
But the cool thing is you still have a list though, right?
Well, that was a cosmetic list. And that wasn't really my list, by the way. So I'm a very honorable guy. I will not steal. I mean, could I have started my own beauty band? Sure, but I don't know them. I'm a tech guy, right? I build SaaS applications. That's my skill. All right. And so that's the thing. I mean, that's what I'm saying. We have a lot of people that didn't know about email marketing. And so I hope from today's show they can pick up that email marketing is important. Like I said, I'm on the tech side. You want a great platform for email marketing? I'm your guy. I'll have it bulked in. That little form goes right to the database. It's all automatically segmented. It's all beautiful. But the message, that's not me. You want to figure out how to develop a message, craft a message. I would say talk to Lois. She'll get you set up in that world, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I actually have a course called Let's Build with Lois, and any of your viewers who want, I'll give it to them for free. It's not free normally. I would love to give them that, as well as, you know what, though, when I broke it down, Jefferson, just really quick, I saw that my list build course was my first one that I built during the pandemic, and I had hundreds of people sign up for it. Still, not everyone did it as fast as I did it. And I was like, what is wrong? What am I missing here? So I love learning from the things that don't convert as well, right? And so I went back and I drilled it down with my coach, and we realized, oh my gosh, people just aren't good at daily income producing lead generation activities because that's what I had to do, right? So I had to have those permission based organic conversations like I don't do paid advertising at all, and I was able to get to multiple five figures a month. Okay, let that
Right.
sink in because a lot of people think they have to do the ads, and I'm not putting those down. Although I will say I've seen a lot of people lose a lot of money and give up on them because a lot of things change, and unless you hire someone who's an expert at it, it's definitely not a do it yourself type thing. Do you agree?
I agree. And to that end, I will tell you what some of the larger companies do. And they're the ones that, I mean, they know, right? It's all AI based. It is impossible for a human to keep up with, all the things you have to do to build an ad. Well, I mean, the ads are still built by humans, but does this ad convert? Is it reaching the right audience? Do the audience that are there lookalike audiences that like this ad that we can target? All of that kind of stuff, that's all done by computers now. I mean, that there's no human clicking those buttons. The only button the humans click are here's the new ad and here's the new offer. Here's some people that have bought recently, and away it goes. That's pretty much it. And that's the thing, and that's what you're up against. And when you're trying to figure out your CPC and all that cost per foot, right? That said, I mean, can paid ads work? Yes, but it's a whole different world. And I would say you're right. Start with actually the basic you just mentioned, email marketing. I would still say LinkedIn is still a great, if you're doing business to business sales, still a great way to get out there. I'm talking direct one-to-one, you take the time to search your list. Hey, here's, somebody that might be interested in my product. Do a direct mail to them.
Yeah.
Doesn't cost you anything.
100%. Yeah, and actually, I created a 5-day lead generation challenge. I'll also give to your viewers for free. And the goal is to generate 100 leads in 5 days to really,
Wow.
it's going all in. Because I will say, because of my own experience as an Ironman triathlete, as someone who loves to learn, I graduated with my BA in 3 years because I thought 4 to 5 years just sounded way too freaking long. So I'm all about full immersion, total immersion, which is also something I studied in the water as someone who hated swimming, right? I hated swimming. But guess what? I hired coaches who said, well, we're going to do this total immersion thing. And so when I said to my coach, I hate running, but my basketball coach said, well, you better learn to love it or you're not going to be on the team. I was like, okay, I love running. So the idea, right? I did it every day, even though I hated it at first. But then guess what? Both in swimming and running, I got that athletic high of I'm in the flow. This feels amazing. So the 5-day challenge, you're supposed to generate 20 lead generating conversations over 5 days, mostly on LinkedIn. I actually put that in there on purpose because I think that's probably one of the best platforms, but you can duplicate it in any platform. And you grow your list, you get those opt-ins, and it becomes a habit. And so the crash course in that. And I now say after people graduate from that, 5 leads a day keeps the creditors away. If you can just have 5 lead generating conversations a day, 20 days a month, that's 100 leads a month. That's now what I coach people on, is to get that 100 leads a month formula. And your conversions, if you close even 5 or 10% of those 100, depending upon your sales price, that could be your 5-figure month right there. Boom, easy, done. And then you're in a habitual, having been a running coach and a lead generation sales coach, it's no different. Health and
Yes.
wealth, it's all about that compound effect of daily habits. And this will be my last thing and then back to you. But so many people focus on the wrong thing. They're like, oh, I have to have the perfect landing page. I have to have the perfect this. I have to have the perfect that. And they self-sabotage. And the last thing they do is, oh, maybe I should actually talk to people about what I'm doing. And I'm like, no, that's the first thing. Technology, hire you or put it to the back burner.
Yes.
I can't even begin to tell you how passionate I am about that because so many people, coaches, speakers, authors, podcasters, they don't make a lot of money because they're focused on all the wrong habits and daily things.
Agreed. Absolutely. And I've been seeing that. So any final thoughts or messages you'd like to share? And again, thank you for your gifts to our audience. I'll put that at the bottom of the page. But any final thoughts?
At the time of this recording, it's September. Right around the corner is fourth quarter. You can finish the year strong. Just focus on the right things. Don't get distracted by the shiny objects and all the opportunities out there. Put yourself first, serve others, and be a shining light to other people. And that's the message of my summit, manifest and monetize. If you really focus on you and taking care of you and speaking your truth, and then ask for the sale and monetize your business, you could change the world and change your lives with your message. And so I just want to remind people that you matter. I just lost another friend to suicide this weekend, so
So
it's
sorry.
fresh in my heart to just remind you to never give up.
Kind of a special message because I lost somebody to suicide a while back. Seriously, reach out to anybody. We'll help you. I mean, there's no crisis that can't be overcome just by reaching out to another human being. I answer, no crisis. We'll help you through it. We're all human. We're all in this together. So thank you, Lois. Thank you so much for joining us and for your time today. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.